In this lecture, we'll take a look at a couple of example problems and write some algorithms to solve these problems. The first problem we'll take a look at is a simple example that we'll call go forth and multiply. In this problem, we're interested in multiplying two numbers, but instead of just the standard multiplication that we're used to, we're going to use repeated addition. So let's say that we have two integers, we'll say a and b, and assume that they're both greater than or equal to 0. What we'll do is we'll get the sum of a plus a plus a, and we keep doing this b times. That's basically the definition of multiplication. So how are we going to do this? Well, we're going to need a loop, and it has to run exactly b times. And each time we go through the loop, or what we call an iteration of the loop, we're going to add a to a running total. So if we only have to go through one time, we'll add a to the total. Then each time we go through this loop, we're going to just keep adding a on top of the total. Whatever the already existing value is, we'll just keep adding a to it. The first step of our algorithm is going to be to get the values of a and b. We need some input. We need to know what a and b are initially. Now, what about the loop? Well, if we're going to have this loop run exactly b times, we need to keep track of how many times we did go through the loop. So we need some form of counter, and we're going to call it count in this case. We're going to have a variable called count, and we'll initialize it to 0. So we'll start it at 0. After each iteration of our loop, we'll increment count by 1. So that way count will just tell us how many times have we gone through this loop. And we want to stop whenever count becomes b. So that means our condition is going to be count is less than b. And this will let us know that whenever count does become b, that means we have gone through the loop exactly b times, and we can get out of the loop and say that we're done. We also need to keep track of the total value. So we're going to call this product. So we'll create a new variable called product. This will also be initialized to 0. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a to this product variable each time we go through the loop. Here's the algorithm for multiplying two numbers. So the first step is that we're going to get our input. We need to get values for a and b, so we'll store some numbers in them. The next step would be to initialize the value of our count variable, so we're going to set that to 0. Now the third step is going to be to initialize the value of our product variable, so we're going to set that to 0. We then have our while loop, so our condition is going to be that count is less than b, and then inside the loop, and notice that we indented the lines in here. I don't think we mentioned this before, but that way it's easy to tell what lines are parts of the body of our loop. So here we're going to set the value of our product to product plus a. So we're just basically taking what's already in product and add a to it. And then we set the value of count to count plus 1, which means we're just simply adding 1 to the value of our count. And then we just go back to our while loop and we keep repeating this b times. And then that would give us the product of a and b. So for example, let's say I have a is 2, and let's say b is 3. So obviously 2 times 3 is going to be 6, but let's follow this algorithm to actually see that happen. So count and product are going to be 0. So 0 is less than b, so our while condition, that part is true. So we're going to take our product and we're going to add 2 to it. So just for our purposes here, I'm just going to say plus 2 here for the value of product. That's just a little bit easier for me. So we're going to add 2 to product, and then we're going to add 1 to the value of our count. So now count is 1, product is 2. 1 is less than 3, so that part is still true. So we're going to go back into our loop again. So we're going to add another 2 to the value of our product. So we're going to add 2 to it, and then we're going to add another 1 to our count. So at this point, count is 2 and product is 4. 2 is less than 3, so that's still true. So now we're going to go back into our while loop, and we're going to say that the product is product plus a. So we're going to add 2 one more time, and then we're going to add 1 to our count. So our count is now 3. Well, 3 less than 3 is false, so our condition is no longer true, so we get out of that, and our product is now 6, which is sure enough 2 times 3. Now, when it comes to algorithmic design, in that last example, we gave you the algorithm for multiplying two numbers. I mean, that was pretty simple, but finding a solution is the hardest part of solving a problem, because I mean, if you're given a problem that no one has solved before, How do you know that a solution exists or whether your solution is correct? So finding a solution to a problem is very difficult. So it is the most challenging part of it and the most creative part of the process is just trying to find a solution that works. So if we're going to become better at solving problems, because as we said before, computer science is about solving problems. So if we want to get better at this, we need some more practice at solving different types of problems. So we will take a look at some more examples to help give you that practice. I mean, the more problems you try to solve, the better you're going to get at algorithmic design and solving problems in general.